Caitlin Clark just sent shockwaves through the WNBA, and no, it's not just because of her signature step-back three. She's been quietly transforming her body, and now she looks built, stronger, and more unstoppable than ever. You're probably wondering, how did this happen? And more importantly, what does it mean for the league? Well, we're about to break down how Clark went from getting bullied on the court to becoming an absolute force, and why every single defender in the WNBA should be terrified. Think back to Clark's rookie season. She was phenomenal, no doubt. But let's be real, she took a beating. Defenders were pushing her, knocking her off balance and making every drive to the hoop feel like a full-body collision. Feel like I'm getting hammered? You could see it. Players like Dejanay Carrington, Kennedy Carter, and Angel Reese were out there treating her like a rag doll, trying to send a message. They thought she was too skinny, too weak, that she wouldn't be able to handle the physicality of the WNBA. And for a second, some people started wondering the same thing. Would Clark end up like other college stars who couldn't handle the jump to the WNBA? Would she fade under the pressure? Yeah, not a chance. Because Caitlin Clark is built different. Like every time you're seeing Caitlin Clark out, it's like, okay, she's not as skinny as she was. And this is someone who, like, that's something that she really needs to, that's something she really needs to do. Clark didn't just take those hits and accept them. She took notes. And this off-season, she hit the gym with a vengeance. No more getting pushed around. No more taking cheap shots without a response. No more defenders acting like they could throw her off her game with physicality alone. And now, she's stronger than ever. Her coach, Stephanie White, has already noticed the difference. Clark isn't just stronger, she's tougher, faster, and more durable. This isn't about just adding muscle. This is about becoming an unstoppable force. Her arms, they're looking like tree trunks now. Her core strength, next level. Her ability to take contact, completely transformed. Clark didn't just tone up, she built an entirely new version of herself. And now, the WNBA isn't ready for what's coming. Not that she was like too weak to be in the W, but like she was too weak to be like an imposing presence in the W like she was in college, because she could be physically dominated. And then obviously we have seen throughout the offseason, we have seen like some of the transformation. For months, defenders tried to make Clark's life miserable. They fouled her hard, knocked her to the floor, mocked her in post-game interviews, and acted like she didn't belong. But here's the thing, she was already dropping points on them while getting pushed around. Now, good luck stopping her. Because the days of Clark being the one getting bullied are over. This time, she's the one initiating contact. She's not getting bumped off her spots anymore. She's creating her own space. She's not just an outside shooter anymore. She's taking defenders inside, bodying them in the paint, and forcing them to respect her in every area of the court. And the best part, they can't do anything about it. I feel like I'm just scratching the surface. I feel like there's just so many areas that I want to improve in and to continue to get in the gym and work on that every single day. Clark was already one of the most dangerous offensive weapons in the WNBA. But now, she's added a post-up game. Imagine this, Caitlin Clark backing down a defender, using her newfound strength to muscle them into the paint before either scoring effortlessly or kicking it out to an open teammate for an easy bucket. This isn't just an upgrade, this is a nightmare scenario for every team in the league, and that's why the entire WNBA is on high alert. Clark isn't just coming back for another season, she's coming back as an entirely new beast, and the defenders who thought they had her figured out, they're in for a rude awakening. So Caitlin Clark in college was not the strongest player in the world. Like, she was somebody that wasn't weak by any means, but we saw when it came to the WNBA that she wasn't able to really assert herself physically. Caitlin Clark's transformation isn't just about dominating this season. It's about setting herself up to be a force in the league for years to come. This isn't just some off-season tune-up. This is the kind of dedication that turns good players into great ones, and great ones into legends. And now the real question. Can Clark actually use those new muscles she's been building? The answer? Absolutely. She hasn't just bulked up. She's completely redefined her game. This isn't the same Caitlin Clark you saw last season. She's added an entirely new layer to her skill set. One that's going to have defenders scrambling to figure out how to stop her. Think about how Clark used to play. Speed and elite shooting were her calling cards. That hasn't changed. But now, she's added power moves to her arsenal that will make her a nightmare to guard. Those smaller guards who used to try and body her up, yeah, they're about to get a rude awakening. I genuinely think that Caitlin Clark had quite a lot of flaws, but so is still, even with flaws, she was that good that if she can figure out those flaws, she's going to be the best player ever. But as a reality situation, and one of them was that she was very skinny. Clark has been grinding on her post-up game, and it's already paying off. She's backing down defenders like it's nothing, using her new strength to create space, and then turning effortlessly for an easy bucket. Imagine Clark posting up, muscling through contact, and draining fadeaways like a seasoned vet. That's a completely new weapon in her game, and defenders are going to have to rethink their entire approach to guarding her. And it's not just the post game. Clark's drives to the hoop are different now too. Last season, defenders could knock her off her path. Now, she's using her shoulder to create space, absorbing contact, and finishing at the rim with ease. Those tough layups that used to rattle out, they're dropping now. If she's able to play a little bit in the post and able to shoot over people, that it becomes really difficult to put, for example, like to put somebody like a Jordan Cannon on her. But here's where it gets really interesting. Clark's new strength isn't just about scoring. It's unlocking an entirely new level of playmaking. She's holding off defenders longer, keeping her dribble under pressure and creating passing lanes that didn't exist before. Picture this. Clark is surrounded by defenders, but instead of getting stripped, she powers through and finds an open teammate for an easy assist. She was already an elite passer, but this physicality is taking her vision to another level. And if you're wondering whether this really makes that big of a difference, just listen to what the experts are saying. Some believe Clark's improved physicality could help her average a double-double in points and assists. Let that sink in. A double-double every game. That's the kind of stat line you see from the all-time greats. But here's the thing. Clark isn't stopping there. She's been refining every part of her game. Remember that workout video that went mega viral? 2 million views in 24 hours on Twitter. But why is this particular video such a big deal? It's not just Clark showing off. It's a masterclass in self-improvement. The video walks us through 3 key elements Clark's focusing on. First up, ball handling in tight spaces. Now, Clark's already a wizard with the rock, but she led the league in turnovers last season. Mainly it's because no one was used to the otherworldly passes she was dishing, and it did get better post-Olympic break. But it's also because she gets double and triple teamed all the time. The ball pressure is immense. By working on her control under pressure, she's addressing that head-on. Next we see Clark drilling her mid-range game. This is huge. Everyone knows about her logo threes and her ability to finish at the rim. She shot a ridiculous 62% from less than 5 feet last season. But that mid-range, that's been the one gap in her offensive arsenal, and opponents are forcing her to take those shots. By adding a consistent floater and pull-up jumper, Clark's making herself even tougher to guard. Finally, there's a focus on finishing through contact, especially with her left hand. Clark's not afraid to drive, but in the WNBA, that means dealing with some serious physicality, whether intentional or not. By simulating game-like conditions and working on her strength, she's preparing for the bruising she'll face night after night. I mean, look at those arms. She's back in her natural habitat, back in the lab, playing basketball, and it's got to be a scary sight for the rest of the WNBA if she gets even better, because it's not as if she wasn't absolutely phenomenally elite. As a rookie, and arguably the best player in the league after the Olympic break, she's turning herself into a complete player, someone who can destroy defenses from anywhere on the court. And here's what should terrify the rest of the league. This is just the beginning. Clark is only in her 2nd season, and she's already making these kinds of improvements. Can you imagine what she'll be like in a few years? We might not just be watching a great player. We could be witnessing the start of a historically dominant career. And for the WNBA defenders who thought last season was tough, you haven't seen anything yet. Caitlin Clark is stronger, more skilled, and playing at an entirely different level. But how scared should the rest of the league really be? Well, let me put it this way. Opposing coaches aren't just concerned. They're losing sleep over this new version of Clark. And I'm not just saying that for dramatic effect. Experts are already predicting that she could be the second favorite for MVP in only her second year. With Caitlin Clark, that's a really important thing. You do it gradually. And I don't think she bulked up by a crazy amount. Like, she's not going to be physically destroying me, but I just don't think she's going to quite get bullied as much as she did. Can you believe that? This isn't just a small improvement we're talking about. This is game-changing. Clark was already a scoring machine, but now she's added power to her finesse. It's like giving a Ferrari a rocket booster. Defenders who used to push her around are now the ones getting overpowered. Remember when teams bullied Clark on the court? Those days are over. Now, she's the one doing the bullying, and that's forcing teams to completely rethink how they defend her. But here's where it gets even crazier. Clark's newfound strength isn't just making her an offensive nightmare, it's turning her into a defensive threat too. She's fighting through screens. She's holding her ground against bigger players. She's no longer the defensive target she once was. Remember how teams used to hunt her on defense? Good luck with that now. She's not just a scoring phenom anymore, she's becoming a complete player. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but will she really dominate right away? Let me hit you with this. Some analysts are already predicting she could average 25 points and 15 assists per game. I think it's an inevitability that Caitlin Clark is the first player to ever average double-double in the WNBA with points and assists. I think she's going to likely set the record for assists per game in a season at some stage in her career. That's not just good, that's historic. We could be witnessing the first player to ever average a double-double in points and assists. And get this, some experts are saying her points might actually go down a little, but her assists will skyrocket. Why? Because now that she's stronger, defenses can't guard her one-on-one anymore. They have to collapse on her every time she drives, which means she's going to be finding open teammates for easy buckets all season long. But let's talk about her scoring for a second. Even if her points per game drop slightly, her new physicality is changing how she scores. She's not just launching deep threes anymore. Now, she can post up smaller guards, back them down, and either score or kick it out to an open shooter. And when she drives to the hoop, forget about it. She's finishing through contact like never before. And here's something that could be a huge problem for the rest of the league. Fouls. When Clark was skinnier, refs let a lot of contact slide. But now, with her new strength, those fouls are going to be way more obvious. That means more trips to the free throw line. And we all know Clark doesn't miss many of those, but maybe the scariest part of all this, what this means for Clark's future. She's only in her second season, and she's already making these kinds of improvements. Can you imagine what she'll be like in a few years? We're not just looking at a great player, we could be watching the next all-time legend in the making. Clark isn't just changing her game, she's reshaping the entire WNBA landscape. You might be thinking, okay, she got stronger, big deal. Clark's transformation is sending shockwaves through the league. She's not just bulking up for herself, she's setting a new standard. Every player in the WNBA is getting the message loud and clear: get stronger, or get left behind. So, what does this mean for the upcoming season? Well, let me tell you, we're in for something special. Can you imagine what she'll do with her new strength and refined skills? We're talking about potential records falling left and right. This isn't just another season, folks. We're about to witness history in the making. Clark isn't here just to compete. She's here to dominate. So grab your popcorn and clear your schedule, because Caitlin Clark is about to put on a show that'll have us talking for years to come.